Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video here at my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm using the Charmed stamp set and the coordinating dies from Mama Elephant, and I'm going to be creating a really simple birthday card. And even though it looks simple, there are quite a few steps, so I'm going to walk you through. The first thing I did was I die cut all of the shapes that I was going to need, and then I used my Misty stamping tool. And this is one of my favorite ways to do stamps with coordinating die sets. So first I stamped the image on just some white cardstock, and I leave that stamp over off to the side on the clear, the clear plastic that you swing over. I leave that mounted there, and I leave the cardstock there as well. I want it in the exact same spot. Then I take the negative of the cardstock of all the die cuts that I cut, and I find the right position, and I position that right over the top, and I'll put the magnets in place. And then I take the die cut that's just the plain white cardstock that I haven't stamped on yet, and I will kind of cookie cutter or puzzle piece that back into that spot. I want it in the exact area where that stamp is going to be, so that I get a perfect stamped image. So I'm just sliding that right in, pressing it in. Then I'm going to ink up that stamp over on the side again. Today I'm using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring, which you can do with VersaFine as long as you let it dry for a long time or you heat set it. I totally forgot to heat set it, so mine smudged a tiny bit. Wasn't noticeable after everything dried, but just wanted you guys to be aware. So now I have a perfect die cut with the stamped image inside. So I did that for the rest of the die cuts. And I also stamped a happy birthday on that banner. Now I'm going to do some Copic coloring, and I'm adhering these down to the kind of the scratch cardstock here because I want it to be there to not move around while I color. So I'm going to be using a few different Copic markers to color these images, and I'll catch up with you after the coloring is done. So after all of the coloring was completed, I took a piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock. This is 80 pound. I've been using 80 pound this entire time. And I'm using 3 different colors from Simon Says Stamp to do some really simple ink blending. And the first color I'm using is Apricot. I really wanted to show you guys in real time all this blending because I actually did this blending about 4 or 5 times before I really got the feel of it. In order to use these Simon Says Stamp inks, they're not the same feel as Distress inks. Like, I think Distress inks really glide across the paper, but the Simon Says Stamp inks and the Hero Arts and W+9 inks, they really kind of soak into the paper really quickly. So the thing that I discovered that I had to do when I'm doing this really soft ink blending is that I have to like barely touch the foam to the surface of the cardstock, like barely touch it. You just want it to just kiss the paper just barely. And as long as you do that, you're probably okay. Also, right after I ink up the foam, I always tap it off on some scratch cardstock. And this takes off some of the ink that might otherwise leave like a big round blob on your cardstock. So always tap off, and then with a very light hand, you can blend that out. So I used Hollyhock ink and also Hot Mama ink. That Hot Mama is the perfect purple magenta color. It's so pretty. Then I went back to Hollyhock and kind of blended out that pink in the center. And sometimes after you've blended some colors together, you have to go back to previous colors to get everything to really blend together. So then I just placed that wreath over the top to make sure it was the right size. And I decided that it was pretty good. So then I'll set all of that aside and start working on the card base. The cardstock I'm using for the card base today is 100 pound Neenah Desert Storm. So it's a craft cardstock base, and I've just scored that at 5.5 to create a top folding card. Then I trimmed down that ink blended piece so that it was 4 inches wide by 5 1/4 tall. And then I adhered that down onto the cardstock base using some extreme adhesive from Tombow. So I'm going to put that wreath on there with a little bit of foam adhesive, and then I'll go ahead and put on the banner and then also the little owl. And I wanted to mention that on the banner I put 1 piece of foam on the 2 sides, and then I doubled up the foam in the center because that center area will not be touching the wreath, and so it needs a little bit of extra foam underneath to keep it flat and stable. So I'll just place that over the top of that wreath. And I've seen a few people online where they actually use the branch from the stamp set for the owl to be sitting on, but I thought he was probably the perfect size to just sit on top of that banner, and I thought it looked really cute. So I took the 2 hearts and added those with a little bit of foam as well. And then I basically have the card done, but I wanted to add a few details. So I also brought in a white gel pen. This is a white Jelly Roll pen, and I just added some dots. They sort of look like little fireflies, or it could be stars, just little details, you know, to add a little bit of interest to that center area. I thought about adding sequins, but it was a little bit too busy. I then took a clear Wink of Stella glitter brush pen and went over the owl's tummy and the 2 hearts. And then I took some glossy accents and added some shine to the hearts and also to the owl's little beak. And it's just enough shine. It's not overwhelming, and it's just enough to give it a little bit more of a sparkle when you look at the card. So that's basically the card for today. It looks super simple and easy, but it did have quite a few steps with the Copic coloring and the blending and things like that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will be back on Wednesday for another card video, and thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I wanted to include 3 more ink blending cards at the end of this video in case you want to check them out. The first one has some really simple blending with die cuts, and then the other 2 have circle masks with blending. It's super fun. I wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a live chat this Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. If you want to tune in for that, I'll remind you again in Wednesday's video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.